What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well on this Wednesday. And today we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about something, maybe you could call it frivolous as far as we're concerned. From a fan perspective, it's kind of low stakes, but I want to talk about it anyway because it's actually pretty interesting. So, we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about our rookies and see if there's any meaningful resolution or information we can come to during this discussion. Real quick, though, I want to remind everybody I'm going to be streaming on the Bleacher Report later tonight, 6 o'clock. We're just going to talk about Seahawks stuff. We're going to talk about these incoming rookies. We're going to talk about my initial evaluations of some of these players. So tune in, be there. Remember, you have to download the Bleacher Report app to be there. You have to make an account on Bleacher Report if you want to actually comment on the stream. So try to be there, 6 o'clock tonight Pacific. We're going to have fun. Okay, so first, a little bit of news. This is from yesterday afternoon. The Seahawks signed Jalen Milroe to his rookie contract. Not too much to say here. He was a third-round pick. Of course he's going to sign. It's not like a third-round pick is going to hold out on you or be any kind of a problem. So it was always going to happen. The contract itself is pretty much negligible as far as we're concerned. It makes no real impact on our salary cap. 4 years, $6.25 million. So that first year cap hit is going to be slightly more than $1 million. There's not much to say. Excuse me. So that's not really anything that's changing the circumstances of this team. We knew that Milroe was going to get this contract. The contract is by and large determined by the CBA. So before we even draft Milroe or whoever we draft at that spot, we know what kind of money he's going to get. So that's whatever. But this signing does now leave us with 2 unsigned draft picks. So of the 11 players the Seahawks selected in the 2025 draft, 9 are now signed. 2 more to go, and those 2 guys are both of our second-round picks. Greg Bell had this tweet here laying it out. 2 of their 11 rookie draft picks are unsigned, Nick Emmanwori and Elijah Arroyo. So if you're wondering who has not put ink to paper yet, there's your answer. And the reason why these 2 guys might have not signed yet, and we don't know this for sure because we don't get to see how the sausage is made when it comes to stuff like this all the time. There could be a pretty interesting reason why these 2 have not signed yet. So at the very least, recent NFL history, and I think this has been going on for a little while, but at the very least recently, first-round picks in the NFL get their rookie contract fully guaranteed, right? Going back to at minimum, Devin Witherspoon, and I believe before that as well, first-round picks get that 4-year deal fully guaranteed. We fully guaranteed Witherspoon, JSN, Byron Murphy, and now Gray Zabel. So that's just standard operating procedure. Oop, sorry, keyboard's acting up. Anyway, that's just how the league works right now. If you are a first-round pick, you get your 4-year deal fully guaranteed. And until very recently, and I do mean very recently, it was only the first-round picks that got that benefit. Everybody else had contracts that were partially guaranteed. That all changed a couple weeks ago. You had the Houston Texans giving Jaden Higgins a fully guaranteed contract. Jaden Higgins was a second-round pick of the Houston Texans. He was the 34th overall pick. So he got his 4 years, $11.7 million deal, 100% guaranteed. This was the first time a second-round pick had gotten a fully guaranteed deal in the history of the NFL. And this was actually a pretty significant report when it came out a couple of weeks ago. And shortly after this came out, the Cleveland Browns were forced to do the same thing. The Browns gave linebacker Carson Schwarzenegger a fully guaranteed rookie deal as well. And they had to because Houston gave the 34th overall pick fully guaranteed. So the Browns, you got to keep up with the Joneses, right? If you've got the 33rd overall pick, literally the first pick of the second round, you got to do that too, right? So there's, I mean, I guess you could just kind of embarrass yourself, but you can't lose face like that, right? You don't want to lose face like that. You gotta, you don't want to be that team. You don't want to be that team that is like, hey, we know that the other teams are treating their rookies like this, but yeah, we're not going to do that for you. Uh, I I don't know if it's the USB port or the keyboard. Sorry, guys. Keep getting distracted because my keyboard keeps going off and on. But anyway, you guys see what I'm saying here, right? You've got the 33rd overall pick getting a fully guaranteed deal. You've got the 34th overall pick getting a fully guaranteed deal. And now you've got Nick Emmanwori, 35 overall. Is he going to get the fully guaranteed deal from the Seahawks? Now, the guy who went 36th, to my knowledge, did not get a fully guaranteed deal. I can't even remember who it was off the top of my head, but if he did, I'm sure it would have been reported. We would have heard about it. So that means our hand is not forced here. But given the nature of the progression here, where you've got 33 and 34 getting these fully guaranteed deals, do the Seahawks need to give Emmanwori that same credit here? Do the Seattle Seahawks need to go and say, we're not going to get shown up by the Houston Texans and Cleveland Browns? We are not going to let those two teams make us look cheap. And could somebody as distant, far away from this conversation as Elijah Arroyo also maybe get in on this? Is he going to push for a fully guaranteed deal? He's seen these other second-round picks get it, and he's like, hey, I want my fully guaranteed rookie contract too. Maybe that's why he hasn't signed yet. Or it could be another reason. Who knows? I mean, Milroe didn't sign until yesterday, and then he signed, and there was no fully guaranteed deal, right? For the record, the contracts that these two players will sign is already more or less determined in terms of the actual value. This SI.com article outlines it. Emmanwori's 4-year contract value should be around 11.6 million, call it. And Arroyo will be around 8.8 million. So that's not at dispute. That's not in dispute. There's really not much room to go up or down there. There's not any flexibility these rookies have. But the flexibility is how much of it is going to be guaranteed. And that's an interesting wrinkle in this year's offseason that we have never seen before. So here's my question. As fans, do we care about this at all? Because the only way this matters is if the Seahawks find themselves wanting to move off of one or both of these players before their 4th year gets here. So let's say Nick Emmanwori ends up being a colossal bust, or Elijah Arroyo ends up being a massive disappointment, and we get through their first 3 years. Let's say we give them 3 years, and then we're like, there's nothing here. We got to move on. Well, on a normal second-round pick contract, you could, and you would save a good chunk of that last year cap hit. You would save a decent amount of money. But if they're fully guaranteed, you don't save anything. So that might motivate you to just keep the player, to hope you can get something good out of him. Maybe that last year wakes him up. But other than that, doesn't really matter to us, does it? So I'm not really sure there's much to say about this as a fan. I'm not sure there's really much to say about this even as like a salary cap person. Like as somebody that tries to pay attention to and understand the salary cap as much as I can, it's just not enough money, and it's not enough flexibility lost to really move the needle. And realistically, like I'm looking at this, Nick Emmanwori is 21 years old. He's going to be 21 when the season starts. He was a 3-year starter at South Carolina. We know he's raw. We know he's got stuff to work on. We know there are problems in his game. We know this isn't going to happen overnight. By the way, I think it's already basically been said that he's not going to be starting at safety as a rookie. He's going to be starting at possibly nickel corner, and he'll take the safety spot when the safety spot becomes available, and that may not happen until 2026. And even once he gets on the field, he's still going to be very young. He's still going to be relatively inexperienced, and he's still probably going to have a good amount to learn, which should be expected based on where he is right now and what he did in college. So is there any scenario where you're actually moving off Emmanwori before you get to year 4? Is there any scenario where you're so done with him at the end of year 3, you just want to completely cut the cord? He'd have to be Anthony Bradford levels of incompetent, right? And we're entering year 3 with Anthony Bradford. I personally don't want to let him go yet. I want to see what happens this third year. A lot of people are already ready to move off of him, and I kind of understand why, don't get me wrong, but the point I'm making is it's pretty unlikely that you end up regretting fully guaranteeing his contract, which is going to not even be $12 million over a 4-year deal. So my instincts say that it doesn't really affect anything enough to fight about. So yeah, I'd say go ahead and do it. Now, Arroyo, I kind of feel the same way about, but unless the players in front of him are getting it, I don't necessarily think he should jump the line. Like, this is the, 50th overall pick? 52nd? I think it was 50th. Like, unless the people right in front of him are getting the fully guaranteed deal, then I don't think there's I don't know. I don't think that there's much of a case to be made here. So him, I don't think you need to do it. Although, again, I got to ask, do you really think it's going to matter? He'd have to be very, very disappointing. And I say that as someone that is not a big fan of his game. All right, let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Just wanted to kind of ponder this for a little bit.